today.
Jerks! Shame! Jerks!
The jerk list.
Nice, he's all. There's too many jerks.
That's what I love about
Jerk!
the jerk list.
A severe penalty for being a jerk.
You're a jerk!
The jerk list.
Jerks! Jerks! What an outrage. Shame!
What a jerk.
You're a jerk! Jerk!
The jerk list.
There's too many jerks.
The jerk list.
Judge rules. Jerk!
That's the wrong music, Popeye.
Yeah, I realize that, Dave. That's my fault. I'm all flustered here.
This is unbelievable, really. I feel attacked. I assume our
Attacked
listeners
by
do
who?
as well. By you. By Elliot. By the lack of headphones, and so on. I'm going to press on, though. I'm going to show you what a pro's all about here.
Please do.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Aaron. Everything doesn't go beautifully, you know? Aaron, I'm sure doors have swung open for you your whole life because you're a beautiful woman. Not so for me. Certainly not for Popeye, who I think it was maybe not the right thing on your first day at the job. Do what you want, but to say that he didn't even deserve a 4 out of 10 physically, that's not fair, she said. Which I guess means Popeye gets a 3 or maybe a 3.5 if he's lucky. Anyway, before I get into the jerks this week, let me say, as I do each week, it's important to note, don't get angry with me if you find your name on the list. Because I didn't do it to you, you did it to you. Let it begin. All right, first of all, father of St. Louis Cardinals pitcher Josh Hancock, the kid who died a few weeks ago in a drunk driving accident. Very sad. He drove his car. He was, I think, 2 times the legal limit, and he drove his car into the back of a tow truck, which was parked on the road because it had stopped to help a car that had broken down. Middle of the night. Anyway, the father has now decided to sue, among others, the bar that he says overserved his son. The tow truck driver, who generously stopped, he wasn't called to the scene where this car had broken down. He decided, he was driving, he saw a car broken down, so he stopped his tow truck. A couple minutes later, Josh Hancock drives his car into the back of the tow truck. Now the tow truck driver, no good deed going unpunished, is being sued. The guy whose car broke down is being sued because he didn't take proper care of his car, therefore leading to the chain of events that led to the accident. And the father is also considering suing the Cardinals and Major League Baseball. Based on what? If he hadn't have been a big leaguer, the bar wouldn't have treated him so well and given him so many drinks? Is that the logic there? Then, if that's the case, why not let's stretch it even further then? Why don't we sue the ancient Egyptians for inventing booze? For that matter, Father, I realize this is a terrible situation, but in our litigious society, do we really need lawsuits like this? Why don't you just sue your own sperm for inseminating your wife's egg? And by the way, while we're at it, can I sue the Steelers? I was at the AFC title game a couple of years ago when they lost to the Patriots, and it was 1 degree out, and I caught a cold. Can I sue the Steelers for exposing me to those temperatures? And as a matter of fact, for the heartbreak I suffered for the second time in 3 years? Listen, I understand it's bad times for you, sir. I know you're grieving. It must be awful, but this is awful, too. You're a jerk! All right, Miss Universe last night, held in Mexico City. Did you know that the studio audience booed Miss USA for being from the USA? I don't know if you caught the highlights of it. She tripped and fell, which was sort of funny and sort of pathetic. I'd say about 50-50 on that count. But anyway, the Mexicans booed her just for being from America. Did you also know that back in 2005, during a soccer game down there, while the national anthem, the U.S. national anthem was being played, they chanted Osama. How dare you, Mexicans? You want work visas? I got something else for you. You're jerks. All right, time to mix a little sugar with the sour proceedings here. Time to give the get-out-of-jerk-free card. Matter of fact, I have 2 to give out this week. The first one, Indianapolis, the IndyCar series, they ran the Indy 500. I brought this up at the start of the show. They had not 1, not 2, but 3 Fox is racing there. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, this discredits the sport. It's not a sport if you have 3 women doing it. But the point is they were attractive women, at least 2 of them. I didn't get a good look at the third one. But this Milka, blah, 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 from Brazil, and Danica Patrick, both pretty easy on the eyes. Milka Duno, what a name also. But 2 good-looking women, maybe even 3. I like that, and I hope all the other sports will take a lesson from this and start making the looks of the female athletes your top priority. Hit the road, Annika Sorenstam, Rebecca Lobo, Cheryl Swoops, and all you softball-playing broads. Get good looking. Natalie Golbis. We need that times 1,000 for these women's sports if anyone's to ever take interest in them. All right, get out of jerk-free card number 2. And, of course, you can play this for any jerky behavior. In the future, should you misstep, you play this card, you're back to square one. The next one goes to Popeye. Popeye, the producer. Yeah, we've had a tough go of it the last few minutes here, but he did at least finally come through on my request to get a girl intern, and I hear she's foxy, and for that, Popeye, you get to get out a jerk-free card. All right, now, I say I am Sauron. I am atop the tower. The eye sees all. There's no misdeed you can commit without being caught by me, by yours truly. But the fact of the matter is, every once in a while, a few things will sneak by me, and that's why we have the Jerk Hotline. The Jerk Hotline allows you to call in and nominate people who you think belong on the jerk list. The phone number is 412-921-9379. Give it a call and let me know who you think should be on the jerk list. This week we got one from none other than Steve Greenwell. I'm sorry, Steve. Steve Greenwell, who helps run the Sports Contraption website. This was an interesting one. Take a listen.
Hey, Dave. It's Steve from the Sports Contraption website. Just like the cop with the weed brownies, I feel like I'm dying when you pick Karen over Pam. But I can't stay mad at you, Dave. But Popeye and Elliot, how dare they? You told Popeye you wanted boxes. And Elliot, even if you do prefer Pam over Karen, Dave is the captain of your ship. And you follow his lead. Therefore, Elliot, a little hazing is in order. And I don't think this is the last time you'll be tasting the blaster either. Popeye and Elliot, jerk!
There you go. And see, Popeye, that was for Elliot. Now you, because you just got that card, you're back to square. You see how it works?
It's beautiful, Dave.
You're lucky you did that, too, because you're running awfully close. You know the rules, Popeye. 3 strikes and you go into the Hall of Shame.
But I don't think I don't think it counts if somebody not you nominates me to be a jerk.
Is that what you think?
Towards the Hall of Shame. I'm
think
saying.
Wrong. Didn't you just hear the words of the caller? I'm the captain of the ship. I'll make the rules. I'll thank you not to make suggestions what the rules are and what they are not, sir. And by the way, just last week, if you need a reminder, the guy from The Bachelor who's gay, who's embarrassed our country by not betting any of these women on the show The Bachelor, and instead crying about them because he had to cut them, embarrassed our nation and made the Osamas, the Benny Ladens, and the Terrible Towels laugh at America and embarrass our military. He went into the Hall of Shame. Now he's in there with Barry Bonds and David Eckstein and Greta Van Susteren and the rest of the people in the Hall of Shame. I don't want to see you wind up in there. You understand? I'm looking out for you. Just keep your nose clean.
I don't want to wind up in there either. That's a scary group there.
Is that sass I'm hearing from you?
Absolutely not.
All right. I just couldn't tell if you were being sarcastic or not. I don't want it. All right. Next on the list, and then we get to the Creep of the Week. Barely avoiding Creep of the Week status, Cincinnati Bengals coach Marvin Lewis. Of course, you have probably heard last week that he claimed on the heels of Chris Henry, his wide receiver, getting arrested again, supposedly failing a drug test. But then later we found out it wasn't. He hadn't failed the drug test. A.J. Nicholson, the linebacker, he was arrested for assaulting his woman. Now he's going to the clink. And now they've released him, of course, because he doesn't play enough for them to be worth their time. But Chris Henry, who's good, they do keep around. Anyway, what's the problem? Is Marvin Lewis ready to come down and drop the hammer on his players and tell them they better shape up? Not unlike the way I've told Popeye to shape up. Is that what he's going to do? No. he blames the Cincinnati police for profiling them. Yeah, of course. It's not that the players are doing anything wrong. It's that the police are looking at them. And why? Because he insinuates by saying we're a small community here, and he's insinuating that in Cincinnati, near the bluegrass state of Kentucky, they stand out. He said our guys stand out. I think he's saying it's because they're black guys. Well, I think that's offset, more than offset, I should say, by the fact that they're celebrities. They're professional football players. You think the cops don't want to meet the Bengals and give them a break whenever possible? Of course. Stop blaming other people. Look at the man in the mirror. You know who's looking back at you, Marvin Lewis? A jerk. All right, now it's time for Creep of the Week. Let's do it. Creep of the week. He or she is the creep of the week. All right, it's Penn State head coach Joe Paterno. Hailed across the land last week for deciding to punish his players. Those guys got into the off-campus fight a while back, a few of them. He's decided now the whole team will be cleaning the stands at Beaver Stadium every Sunday morning during next season. Sounds old school and cool. You all go down because these guys made a mistake, so you all have to pay the penalty and so on and so forth, and everyone's hailing him. Wow, isn't this great? Who else would do that in this day and age? But I'm on to you, old man. You did this preemptively. The only reason you did it was because the school judicial board hadn't weighed in yet, and so you were trying to strike a blow before they could. You're not trying to send a message. You're trying to make sure they don't get suspended and miss part of the season. A season, by the way, that once again will not feature a matchup against the Pitt Panthers, a.k.a. your cross-state rival. Bottom line, you're a conniving coward, and anyone who supports you should be ashamed of themselves, too. And by the way, Joe Paterno, you're the creep of the week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek. Until next time, don't be a jerk.